All right, things are going well so far.
Yo, Badger, go to DC's Discord and announce the stream for her.
All right, this has been the worst. What up, Void? This has been the worst start ever.
It's not really like started, because once you start a podcast, you have to be very like formal. Like we have to have our intro music play. Thanks for tuning in to the podcast that's fun within. It's the BDP Podcast. You know, something like that.
All right, you just made it
that
official.
one.
That's
Yeah.
We've got to play that on the video before every stream.
Thanks for tuning in to the podcast that's fun within. It's the BDP Podcast. You know, something like that. That's our intro. Real cheap.
Isn't there supposed to be more than one person doing it?
Yeah, for sure. And it's not supposed to be like a 10-minute long intro. But yo, another thing I was thinking about is whenever I hear the BPD, I think of like the Boston Police Department. Do we need to like switch up the orders to like DBP,
No, it doesn't work.
DC. Who do you think our first guest is?
What do you mean?
I got the Boston Police Department to come on.
The whole department.
Doesn't it sound like a police? Like
It does. You're right.
We'll never get clicked on Spotify when we're trying to reach 1 million subs by the end of this year.
The end of this in 12 days.
Yeah.
That's a very American thing. We don't say like PD here, so
Yeah.
You know where this podcast is going to flourish, Bailey? You know where it's going to thrive?
Where
In America.
is it?
Yeah, I guarantee you we get 5 million American subscribers on our YouTube by the end of 2021.
So in the world of stand-up comedy, there are a lot of like comedians who are pretty funny, but for whatever reason, they don't like get big in America or anything. But then like somebody posts a YouTube video of them in some like third world country with like 20,000 people, and they like treat the comedian as like a god. So they just spend the rest of their life like doing a show over there. So that's I guess that's what we're gonna do.
We're reaching out to the Moldovan market.
Yeah, we're gonna be #1 podcast in all of Tunisia. I guarantee it in a year.
Have you guys? I know this is gonna get like some joke comments in chat probably, but have you guys seen Rick and Morty?
I
have
haven't.
not.
Oh, there's an episode where the dad is trying to help Morty with his science project. So he has to build like a model of the solar system, and the dad includes Pluto. And Morty's like, Dad, Pluto's not a planet anymore. And he's like, yes, it is. I disagree with the scientist. And then, like, some aliens from Pluto, like, show up and bring him to his planet. And he becomes, like the king of the planet because he's, like, the only person that thinks Pluto's still a planet. So that's going to be us. We're just going to hype up Moldova, like, every podcast. They're going to be like, you're damn right. I like these guys.
That would work if I didn't like actively shit on Moldova 24/7 because fuck that place.
Moldova. Yeah.
Thank you for your input, DC.
I was trying to think of like what Moldova does to me as like a term, because like I didn't even know it existed before I met Voidrev. Like I didn't know it.
He's not even from Moldova. But I like how we have the three different opinions of Moldova. We have Bailey with fuck Moldova, me with Moldova's the greatest country on the planet, and DC with Moldova, yeah.
Moldova, yeah.
I'm very indifferent about it.
Okay, I think it's time we officially, because we're how far? Well, look, we're 10 minutes in and we haven't done anything yet.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Sorry, are we doing anything?
I have the Google Forms. This is our biggest fans submitted these questions. It said, "What questions have you always wanted to ask Bailey, DC, or Pound?" And this is the look. We owe it to our fans to answer these questions. All right.
Can we start with something like stupid?
Okay, I guess this is a good start. What is your opinion on badgers?
Was that an actual question on the form?
Yes.
Some of you are incredibly unfunny.
Yeah, just skip that one.
Just fucking delete that one.
The podcast is off to a roaring start.
I blame Pound actually for thinking that was a good question to start off with.
Bailey said, "Pick a
Hey,
stupid
Pound,
question."
Pick a good
Yeah,
one.
but something
Pick a funny
funny.
one. And he goes right to that. So Pound thinks it's funny then.
All right, what is? How about, in your opinion, the worst film ever?
Oh shit.
Maybe that one's too much of a thinker?
Yeah, that's not funny. You are
Worst
awful.
film. No, that's a good question.
Yeah, but it's
What
not
was-
funny.
not funny. Have you seen the John Mulaney skit of him saying that?
Yeah, not funny.
Not funny.
All right, now I'm just gonna sour this for 10 minutes. I'll be back later.
No, look.
No. We can circle back to this one. So I'm gonna write it down in my handy dandy notebook. What is that from?
It's from
Blue's
Blue's
Clues?
Clues. Yeah, Blue's Clues.
Wow.
Why
cool.
do you both know that?
What
we
kind of
watched it.
British stuff
I
do you
watched it when I
have?
was like 8.
So you know what it is.
Yeah, but I don't know what that's from. I'm a
Oh,
fucking
you're like a. How young are you? You're like a generation shithead or something. What's your generation
Alright,
called?
He's a Gen Z, a Zoomer.
Okay, and what are we? X's? Are we X's?
No,
are
we're
you in that
Ys.
bracket too, Pound?
We're Gen
We're
Y
Ys.
/ millennials. Yeah.
And Bailey, what is it? Gen Y or Gen X?
Gen Z. No, it goes in order of the
It's just going
alphabet.
for the alphabet.
I don't know what they're gonna do
Okay.
next though. They ran out of letters.
They're gonna start naming them like they name hurricane. It's gonna be like Generation Sandy.
Yeah. Okay, look,
I
I posted.
got a question.
Okay, what's up?
I got a question from the Google form, okay?
All right.
And this one's to both of you. Directly, not me. It says DC and Pound, not me. I can't answer this one. They asked for college stories. I want something funny from college days.
All right, DC, you go
DC
first.
A
Or
funny
not.
college story?
Yes.
All right.
Not the one about the guy's ass either.
Oh, funny. I'll tell you about the time I almost went to jail.
Do you want some
And
quick Coke can ASMR to start your story?
Yeah, let's all get some Coke can ASMR.
I actually have cola here, but it's like cheap cola because
Oh, because you went to the what's your term for it, DC? You went to the
Market?
you went to the thrift store or something?
Now
I
he
went to
goes
the
to
COVID repair shop actually.
the market down across town. We call it the gas station. What do you call
Please
it?
just fucking tell the story.
I'm trying to get a little cultural experience in these podcasts for all of our international viewers. But anyway,
Moldova
I was in
hype.
college. Shout out to Moldova. And I was with my buddy. This was all right. It was I think it was my sophomore year of college. Me and my buddy used to go up to the top of this parking garage in town, and we would climb up on top so we could like see the town and city and the lights
Sorry, who's
at the end of the
climbing
night.
up?
And it was me and my buddy. And so one night we saw like smoke. We saw this like fire. We couldn't see exactly what it was. And so this guy, this worker of the parking garage came up and actually like yelled at us. He's like, "Hey, you guys can't be up there." And so we like got down and left.
You really put up a
What?
fight for that one.
I mean, we were trespassing, so like we were like, "Ah, all right, we'll leave."
Pussies.
I was hoping that
the
was the
next
end of the
morning,
story.
we
Like
walked-
it's just like
No. Oh my god, bro! I'm gonna fucking have an
Go,
air horn.
go,
And if
go.
you guys are all right. And so the next morning, I go to class, and one of the things we always do there, everybody grabs the school paper, the morning paper. On front of the newspaper, it says 2 men wanted for questioning, and it was a picture of me and my friend.
like your
On the
school ID
security
or something?
cameras- What?
Like your school ID or from like a security camera?
No, from a security camera. It's me and my friend, right, plastered on the front of this page, this newspaper. And so I'm like, you got to be shitting me. I literally am like shitting my pants in English class. Like, oh my god, like what the fuck did I do? And so I go home after class. My buddy's my roommate, and he's in the apartment just pacing around, right, like nervous as fuck. I was like, so you seen it? He's like, what, dude? We got to turn ourselves in. We got to turn ourselves in. And I was like, no way, dude. We didn't do anything, and they could never successfully ID us based off these pictures.
What did you do?
We didn't do anything. So anyway, my buddy convinces us to go in. I'm like, whatever. We didn't do anything. Like, let's just see what the fuck we're on the paper for. And so we walk into the police department. We're like, hey, we're the 2 guys on the front of the newspaper. And they're like, okay, have a seat. Like somebody will be out. And we got brought back to the police station and interviewed by detectives in a 2-way mirror room. And we had to write down word for word what we did that night and what happened separately, so then they could read it and make sure that it matched up. He's like, okay, well, I don't think you guys did it, but the reason we brought you in here was a block over from where you guys were spotted, a couple cop cars were blown up. And so that's what we saw.
They thought you bombed a police officer?
Yeah, a car parked on the street, a police car.
What,
And so
just because you were there, they were like, we have to arrest them?
Well, they wanted to question us, right? Like we weren't arrested. Then the fucker's like, "What were you doing up here? Like I could I'm gonna write you guys up for trespassing, a misdemeanor." I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me, bro?" And he's like, he went and talked to his boss, and he came back in. He's like, "All right, well, it's your lucky day, guys. Like, just don't do it again and get out."
What? Just don't blow up a cop car?
No, because it was, dude, like you said, like we were over a block away. They didn't have any evidence of us. Like our stories matched up. We were two little kids, not little kids, Jesus, two young adults.
Bailey's age.
What happened was it happened like a month later. This guy was just going around blowing up cop cars, and they had him coming out of the convenience store with gasoline 20 minutes before it happened.
But there you go.
That's how they caught him. So they did catch the guy. It wasn't me. I'm not on the loose. But that's the story. That's a funny college story.
No, that was a great start. Compared to the first 10 minutes, this is a great.
Right, no, it was a good story, but like it wasn't that funny. It was so deep.
There wasn't nothing deep about it. He almost went to jail.
Just imagine you walk into university and the school paper, you pick it up and you're like, oh, sip your coffee, and it's just your picture saying 2 men wanted for questioning. Please call police department.
You know, that's gonna be us the day after the first episode of the podcast.
All right, so I can think of other funny college stories.
Yeah, supposedly I'm supposed to share a college story, but
oh yeah, go ahead.
What the hell did I even do in college? I guess this isn't that funny either. So since DC got in trouble, I'll share the story of when I got in trouble. So in my dorm, I guess because it was like my first, because it was like a co-ed dorm, so like the odd-numbered floors had boys living on it, and the even-numbered floors had girls living in it. And so we all kind of like mingled throughout the day. And I started a running tally. I started running tally of just like the girls in our group. I like asked them for their bra sizes, and I like recorded it. And I like had like a little like note on my iPhone with like all the
fuck.
Bro,
it's been 20 minutes and you're already gonna get a sexual harassment lawsuit. It's been 21 minutes.
Let me just interject here that Pound goes to college, and if this was a short cartoon animation, it would be young Pound with a backpack on, a pencil and a notebook, going up to every girl and saying, "Excuse me, ma'am, what is your bra size? I need it for my notes." And they would tell him, and he'd write it down, and he'd walk away, and that's what Pound did freshman year.
It was like an inside joke with their group, kind of. It was an inside joke. And so I didn't like, it wasn't like my first day at college. I was just like, "Excuse me, ma'am."
That's what I pictured you doing. Hey, I'm keeping a tally over here.
He's doing the yearly college census.
Yeah, I joined the census. No, so this is all people I knew already and like hung out with. You might be shocked that they found out that I have like, I enjoy tits a lot. So we thought it'd be funny if I just like kept like a list of girls' bra sizes in like our group. But anyway, one of the counselors kind of like of the dorm found out about it, and like they didn't think the girls like consensually gave me their like bra size and stuff, but the like she's called an RA, I guess, like a room assistant or something, or a dorm assistant or something. Resident assistant. Yeah, so she reported me to campus, and so I have to like go to a meeting, and I get there, and it's a lady who's in charge of this. She's like, "Look, if this was like 5 years ago, I wouldn't even do anything." She's like, "You'd be free to go. You wouldn't get in trouble." She's like, "But now things are kind of sensitive nowadays, so I gotta do something." So I just had to like go to some like counseling session one time on campus, and then that was like the extent of it. But that was
mentally fucked. You had counseling for your sexual harassment issues,
and it didn't help at all.
Sexually harassing people actively.
Funny college story, guys. Pound goes to sex counseling at age 18.
All right, well, hold on. Let me share a better college story. I went to a fast food place. I went to McDonald's. I said, "Can I get a Whopper?" And they said, "That's at Burger King." And I went, "You just got college!" And I ran off.
I knew that was coming. It's so bad.
Did you want to switch off to your story?
I'm trying to think of another funny one.
Yeah, I'm sure I
You
have
can
like
go
a
to another
lot.
question if you want.
I have so many. Oh yeah, we can move to another question.
Yeah, do keep in mind I've been waiting all week to share my story of the guy who came into our bank.
Okay.
But I want to get through like one more question and we can move on to that.
Okay.
I do know, so this one will probably this will include all three of us. This is what I wanted to start the podcast on because I feel like that's what most the people want to hear about. The question is, what made you start streaming / start doing YouTube? And I feel like that was pretty applicable to all of us. But the one thing I thought about that question was, it's kind of like asking us three, like, what made you get into running? When, like, me and DC, like, go for a jog once a week and Bailey does, like, marathons. Like, we're on different levels of the experience.
You really can just suck my dick.
Yeah, yeah, Pound, what the fuck was that, bro? Get off your knees.
No, I'm just saying, I've made, like...
No, I mean, the question is, like, I was just thinking I'm not even worthy being in the presence of Bailey, and, like, DC and I are worthless, like, because we're shit, and...
I'm not saying we're shit, I'm just saying I've edited a video, like, 3 times in my life.
And DC has never opened an editing software ever.
I've never edited a video in my life. That is correct. Just upload raw 14-minute. You shut up. I have 36 subscribers on YouTube, bro.
Look, before the podcast started, Bailey told DC to go to his sound settings, and DC asked what that was. So that's...
This is true. I can't confirm.
Wait, no, Pat. Let me ask you a follow-up question. Bailey asked me to go to the sound control panel, and did that exist on Windows 10 operating system natively?
Yes, because I have it.
Did it?
This is really fucking boring. Next. Move on.
All right. So we're gonna go. What made you start streaming / doing YouTube?
I mean, for me, it was like, I remember I first discovered Twitch when Clash Royale came out, and I was watching Phone Cats, and I was watching Molten Nick videos on YouTube, and just like every day, and you know, it looked so fun, and I've always wanted to.
So how did you get to Twitch? Like, it was linked in a YouTube video?
I don't even remember. I think so, man. It was just this really random. I'd seen the term before. I remember it very like specifically, but I was like, okay. And then I was like, this is live. You can comment and they can answer you immediately. I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. And the rest is history with that. But I just, when did it come out? 3 or 4 years ago?
Yeah,
so like 24, 20.
You were 24 and you questioned whether Twitch was live, and you found it fascinating that you could live comment.
I had never been to Twitch, so it was my first time on the site.
Right, me neither. I was like 12, but I still knew what a live stream was.
I liked that the question was what made you start streaming, and I thought we were all gonna go like really in depth. And DC was like, I found Twitch, and the rest is history. Like, you just skipped the whole story. So you were watching Phone Cats, and what made you think like I could do this? Like, I could be in his chair, I guess.
I like to entertain, and so I like to be in front of the camera instead of behind the camera. So I just had a natural inkling to want to do that. I just thought it was so cool, and I was like, well, why not me? And so I just started it, and it was cool. It was very cool.
Had you done stuff before Twitch? Because you said you like entertaining people. You like being.
I was a performer with music. Like I've done several shows. I recorded albums and stuff like that. So I was always playing in front of people. Nothing with my comedy. Like, I've always wanted to, like...
Yeah, trust me, we knew that.
Sorry, wait, well, that's comedy?
No, I wanted to, like, write or do, like, podcasts or just something around comedy. Because, as you boys know, like, I'm pretty fucking funny. Like, it's very obvious.
Yeah, I knew that.
No, I mean, you definitely blew me out the water with your, like, I was arrested for bombing a police car. That was a good story.
No, but I always either wanted to play music professionally or, like, I've always wanted to be famous. I guess if we're going to the roots of it, and I thought, oh, this is a good avenue.
That's shallow, DC. That is shallow.
No, because like it's not. It's a career choice. Like you want to be a fucking COVID repair shop man, and I want to be self-employed, working for myself and putting out content.
All right, I guess I'll go next.
Yeah. Go.
All right. It's kind of like DC is. I don't know if it's as shallow as just like wanting fame, but basically I was watching YouTube, and I was really into Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, different anime. I was really into Bleach. That was my favorite anime. There was one person at my entire school that also was watching Bleach. And there were like a couple that watched Naruto. So there was nobody for me to talk to about it with. And I would watch YouTube videos of like people playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and people watching anime, and they just like upload videos, and they'd get like 100,000 views and have like 1,000 comments of people like talking about the show with them. And I'd be like, I hate just talking about like talking to the same guy over and over again about the show. I wish I had like a wider network of people to interact with. And so I thought, if I start a YouTube channel and it grows, then I can just like, if I find a cool new show, I can upload a video about it and have people to talk to. So I guess, yeah, it was kind of about building a network and just having more people I can interact with and talk to about things that I enjoy. And then instead it ended up being about Clash Royale.
Yeah, and you fucking hate Clash Royale.
I guess that leads into Bailey. What got you started streaming / doing YouTube?
Depression and loneliness. Alright, I'm totally fucking with you, by the way.
No, I mean, I believed you. You live in Britain, so you're just like depressed. Yeah.
Firstly, I just want to say that like DC's thing about fame, not shallow. I was just joking, because the whole reason you play video games is because you want people to watch online. It's you want people to watch you play video games, right? Like this was a thing when I first started. People would be like, "Do you care about viewers?" And I came up with this. It was like always the same answer. It was like, "Well, if I didn't, I wouldn't stream, right? Because what the fuck is the point in streaming if I don't want people to watch, right?" So I don't know. I'd always done, if we're going like serious with it. When I was like 12, right, there are ancient videos, not anymore, they're unlisted, but there are ancient videos of me playing like fucking Minecraft and shit as a 12-year-old, right? Because one of my childhood best friends introduced me to YouTube, and we'd watch like the same YouTubers all the time, and we're like, fuck it, let's make a YouTube channel. So we did. It went fucking nowhere. The only views we got were when we'd click refresh on the page. True story.
I know that.
Yeah, and then I gave up until I was 16, and it was actually because I took maths in college, and that is really fucking boring. And my tutor gave me a lot of fucking homework. It would take like 3 hours on a Saturday to do it, and I'd watch the same streamer every Saturday morning. I would watch the same Clash Royale stream because it's like the game I played the most at the time. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna start a stream. He raided me a few times. I got like an initial people watching me, and it just became a part of my life, right? I just was like, no, I never just stopped. Like, I know DC has taken long breaks. Maybe you also have, Pound, but for me, I've like consistently done YouTube or streaming since like almost dead on 4 years now. It'll be 4 years in 7 days.
Nice, congratulations.
I don't know if you should congratulate me.
Are you still putting out videos right now?
Well, no, but
he is now, motherfucker.
It counts.
You're doing this. I see. So doing it for 4 years every day, right? Is that what you did like every day?
Yeah, 100%. My college that I went to was a 10-minute walk from my house. So on like lunch breaks and shit, I used to have. I used to go in the morning, have like a 4-hour lunch break because I'd miss a lesson in the middle, then go back in the afternoon, and I'd walk home and I'd stream like in my lunch break.
You go home on your lunch break and stream from your dorm?
No, from my parents' house. College is at 16 here.
That's right. Dude, we need to get into that real quick at some point. But all right, I have a question for you, because for those of you guys who don't know what Trovo is, it was a platform. It still is a platform. They hired streamers to come on and just stream for them, and Bailey had an opportunity and signed on with them. So you streamed every day for what, like 6 hours, 7 hours?
No, not at the start. At the start.
No. I'm talking about whenever you made the program. So from the time where you were like full-time Trovo, did you enjoy that more, or did you enjoy the 3 years, 4 years prior to that? 3 years, I guess.
I don't know. I would say I enjoyed YouTube a lot more. And not that I dislike streaming at all, but like YouTube is like a 10 out of 10, streams like an 8 out of 10, right? Just because I enjoy YouTube a lot more because I'm much a perfectionist, and in like editing and stuff, I can edit frame by frame, right? The things that people can see on screen right now is I made this little animation, right? And that I did frame by frame, right? I literally render the text fading out, 1/30 of a second different every time to make sure I get the right frame. And that is really satisfying to me, getting that exactly. And creating stuff, like creating the image again that's on screen, is really like creatively satisfying for me. But on stream, you don't really get to do any of that because it's all live, right? You can make your scenes, and that's about it. You put your face cam on your gameplay, and then you've got to be entertaining just playing a video game. That the two things that like in streaming, I would say sort of prove that this is not that I need to prove it, but the two most satisfying things I ever did when streaming was the replay transition, right? When something happened in the game, I press a hotkey and suddenly there's this animation that comes on screen. That was probably the most satisfying thing I've ever done in terms of like live streaming. And then also the video that I created when I quit streaming was live, but obviously it was fully edited. And those are like two of the most satisfying things because I enjoy that sort of creativity a lot more than live streaming. So to answer your initial question, I'd probably say the years before were more enjoyable, but just because of what I just enjoy the format of YouTube more. In terms of streaming, like solely streaming, I definitely enjoy streaming a lot more was on Trovo than before, but because YouTube was before Trovo and whatnot, I would say the years prior were more enjoyable.
Yeah, so what I find interesting, like what I enjoy doing more is almost like the other side of what you were saying. So I don't like putting in the time and effort to put out a detailed YouTube video. What I enjoy about all of this is the live raw like interaction with the live stream, and it is little work. It really is just sitting down and turning the camera on. So I just find that interesting. You liked to be able to go and put the exact message you wanted to out there on the internet, where I'm just like, fuck it, I'm here. Not that you didn't enjoy the live, but that's like more, I just lean towards that side of it.
Yeah, of course. It's just, I would say it's definitely a personality thing, right? I've always felt creatively stumped when live streaming because you're a content creator still, right? You're creating content, but I never felt like I was actually creating anything that anybody else just couldn't almost replicate, because it was just me playing a video game, right? Anyone can do that, but it takes a little bit of, not to suck my own dick, but it takes a little bit of skill to, edit videos.
It takes a lot of skill to reach 20,000 subscribers, Bailey. You're so good.
Thanks for the dick sucking found.
No, but it's true. Like, think of like some of the greatest known movies, like Star Wars, Avengers, like Titanic. Like, picture them having to like do that live, and they couldn't edit or anything. Yeah, like that would fucking suck as a movie.
Yeah, that's more satisfying to me. But I would say live streaming has different challenges, right? It's not necessarily harder to edit and stuff, because to create the top tier live content, you have to be very quick with it, right? When I edit, I can sit down for 8 hours and I can, redo a 10-second piece as many times as I like. But live, you do it once and then it's out there.
Yeah, it's adrenaline. I think part of it is just like I like the fucking thrill of like whatever happens right now is about to happen.
Yeah, I think when I did like bigger stuffs like tournaments or even like the emo giveaway stuff, or when I did the streamer 1v1s, I know DC, you do a few of those, but with viewers now, that stuff was always incredible to do because there was almost adrenaline to it, right? It's not like the same adrenaline as doing, some big adrenaline stuff, but there's a little hit from it because people are watching you, there's something on the line, and yeah, I think that was also a very positive thing when it comes to streaming.
Yeah, a thing I like about live streaming is that, I know what Robbie, Badger, Viru, the Kid, and then I'm gonna offend anyone I just left out by not naming them. But like I know like what they did today because I have like a full conversation with them as the stream goes on. I'm never gonna upload a YouTube video and like somebody comments and then like there's like a 30 comment chain of us catching up and stuff. So you don't do that on YouTube. It's just kind of you comment on the content that's put out. But on Twitch, it's more you can't. There's only so much to comment about, so you comment more on, I guess, what's going on outside of the content. Like, oh yeah, earlier today I went to the store and bought jeans, and like that's not an interesting story, but at least I know a little bit more about Badger going by jeans, And
that's what it is. Like, that's the beauty of streaming. That's the magic. What that is Twitch. You get to know the streamer, the content creator, in a way that you wouldn't if they put out a 5-minute YouTube video 2 times a week. Like, think about the Twitch streamers that we know that put out YouTube videos, and it's like a completely different person, and then they come to chat. and they interact, and they're like, it's like, wow, I didn't picture this person to be like this, good or bad. Like, I'm not saying anything, just different. So Twitch, you get that rawness, you get like authenticity for the most part, and when that's really hard to convey in a 10-minute YouTube video, you know.
I'll go ahead and get into my my story of the guy who came into my bank on Wednesday. I really want feel free to like at any point interject during the story and like ask questions, because I think the back and forth between us is going to be more entertaining than just the story by itself. So I recently got a job. I started a month ago, and really this is my first week out of training. This guy came in to apply for an account. So he sits down I have like a little office, I have a little desk and a computer. Because of like 9/11 and stuff, there's like a bunch of bank regulations where you have to like run your name and stuff to make sure you're not like on the government watch list for anything, so we don't like open a bank account for a terrorist or something. I get this guy's driver's license and I search his name, and normal like 99.9% of the time nothing comes up. But this guy, and this is the first, because I'm just out of training. This is the first guy I'm ever opening an account for. His name pops up on 2 government watch lists. And that normally doesn't mean anything, because there's like 1,000 people with the same first name and last name. It could be like one guy's on the watch list and there's like 900 innocent people who just happen to have the same name. Like John Smith or something. And so, but I do have to print it out, and I have to like scan it into the legal department just so they can like get back to us if we can open the account or not. While I'm waiting, I was like, well, I'll go ahead and make a profile for this guy since he's never been here before. So so somebody's like walking me through this, because I still have to, I'm out of training, but I'm still being like watched to make sure I know what I'm doing. And I tell the person that's kind of following me, I don't want to like stereotype this guy or anything, but he kind of gives off a weird vibe to me.
Can you explain what that weird vibe was, please?
Yeah, I hope this isn't like offensive or anything, but
please.
He had like, so I hate cigarettes, and he had like a cigarette smoke smell to him, and like mixed in with some, I couldn't recognize any of the other smells on him, but I could smell that he had like a lot of cigarette smoke like on his clothes.
Sorry,
and
why
stuff.
are you like sniffing him like behind?
No, that's the weird thing, is that he's just in my office, and like from like 4 feet away, I can like smell all the smoke. And I hate that smell. Like, whenever somebody smells like cigarette smoke, I hate it.
Can you leave my office, please? You fucking stink.
And he's like, he has like once again, I'm kind of like stereotyping, because none of these things are bad, but he also had like a fully shaved head. He gave off a weird vibe to me. Nothing
all
that
bald people are terrorists.
Yeah. All bald people are terrorists. He shows up as being on a CIA watch list, and that's not anything bad, as I said. Lots of people have the same. Lots of people put on there wrongly. Usually it doesn't mean anything. But so I go to set up. You still there, DC, by the way?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I just keep getting worried that you're just gonna wander off and make a sandwich or something.
He just had to check his pizza, bro.
Yeah. So I go to I'm like, while I'm waiting for a response about what to do about him being on the watch list, I go ahead and set up a profile for him. I put in his name, because I have his driver's license. I put in his name, his address, and stuff. Do you know, Bailey, do you know what a social security number is?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's just like, in America, it's just like our global government identifier. Everyone, when you're born, you get a social security number. And that's
you get it when you're born?
Yeah.
Really? I think you get it at 16 or 18 here.
Really? Am I right, DC? Like, once, like, somebody who's 1 year old has a social security number, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Wow.
I asked the guy what his social security number is, and right now I'm not like, I think he's kind of weird, but I don't think he's weird at all. I fucked up the wording of that so badly. So I asked him for a social security number. Real quick before I get into the story,
oh, for fuck's sake!
No, what do you guys think so far? Like, what do you guys think of this guy? What do y'all think is gonna happen in this story? Do y'all have any thoughts?
You're probably borderline racist.
he's like, well, like he's not black. I don't know if he was white or not, but he was.
Just say no.
He
could clarify.
I'm not racist, and I thought he was white. It had nothing to do with racism. DC, what do you think's going on right now in the story? What do you think of this guy?
Cracking asses as ever, DC.
Amy said it's like a Darman thing. Like, I'm gonna like.
Yeah, I know. Dude, like it's too obvious to be like, oh, he's like a terrorist, but like you're literally just judging this guy off of cigarette smokes. Like I have
No,
idea.
and I didn't think anything until he popped up
And
on
he
the
was
watch
bald,
list.
to be fair.
And he's
was
bald.
Any guy who's bald and smokes a cigarette pound's like, I don't know about this guy.
So I asked this guy for his social security number, and he says, well, actually, I have 3 social security numbers. And in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm pretty confident you can only have 1 social security number, because that's the point of it. But I guess I'm not an expert or anything. I guess maybe there's like some weird scenario where someone was like born with a social number, and then he had to like get a new one. I'm like, maybe there's like a couple people that have multiple socials. I'm like, I don't think so, but maybe. So I said, which one would you like to use for the account? And he's like, well, my current social is so-and-so. And I type it in, and the person who's like who's like shadowing me to make sure I'm doing everything right, she's like, why do you have 3 socials? And he says, cause this is my, he's like, cause this is my 3rd life. And I'm like, okay. I think I like mishear him or something. He says I've had 3 attempts at life. I think that he means like somebody tried to kill him or something. When he says he's had 3 attempts at life, I'm like, oh, maybe he's in like witness protection or something. And then he says, I was originally born in 1870.
Okay,
and
the guy's a fucking lunatic.
The moment he says he was originally born in 1870, I was like, oh no. Because he's like 40 years old, right? He's not like some old guy.
He actually just meant 1970.
No, he meant 1870. and so the moment he said that, I was like, oh no. And then so he starts explaining to us, and he pulls out this picture, and it's this like Native American woman holding like a baby, and it's like in it's in like grayscale. It looks like it was. And it's faded. Like, it actually looks like it's from the 1800s. And shows us this picture of this Native American woman holding a baby. He's like, this is me when I was born in 1870. And I was like, okay. And he pulls out, like, these other... Like, he has, like, a giant stack of papers. He starts... our manager is out to lunch. So we don't have, like, anyone to go to. He starts explaining to us that, like, his dad is trying to steal his identity or something. So our manager finally comes back from lunch. I was like, give me 1 second, sir. And I run to her office. And I was like, okay, I'm dealing with this guy, and he claims he was born in 1870, and he has 3 social security numbers.
Wait, no, Badger makes a good point. He also has a photo from 1870.
I might have been misunderstanding his story, because so that might have been his most current birth, because he was also born in his current self was born in 1970 as well. So that might have been like his most recent one, because he has a birth certificate.
I need you to recall the facts of this story very importantly right now, as it depends on this guy's sanity. When you ask us, what do you think is going to happen again? Was 1870 his last birth, or was it 1970?
No, his last birth was 1970.
Sorry, what? Why are we just accepting that he's had multiple births? Makes sense.
I'm just telling you the story.
I just need to hear more before I can judge this guy. All right, let's go.
So we go back to him, and because if your social security number doesn't like match yourself, then like when we run the website to see if you're on a watch list, if it doesn't match your social security number, then we need like your physical card, because you get a physical card with social number and your name on it.
Yeah.
And I asked him if he has the physical card, because I need to take a copy of it. And he says he doesn't have the card because his dad and his sister are trying to steal his identity. But what's weird is he says his dad is trying to steal his identity, but we find out later that the reason he has 3 social security numbers is because he is his dad and he's also his mom.
What the fuck are you saying?
Okay.
He explains to us that because he has 3 different names and 3 different social security numbers, because he's not, and
Okay, so he murdered his parents and then just took on their identities from then
he's
on.
stealing
And was like,
their identity.
he's like, I will bring you with me wherever I go, like dead parents. Like,
No, so here's where this is my mistake, right? This is my mistake. I assumed that he was a human, right?
No. Your mistake was doing fucking mushrooms at lunch.
So I made the assumption that he was a human, but he later explained to once I brought my manager in, he explained to us that he was a dot and and not like a mark on a piece of paper, not like a dot. He's an alien race and they're called the dots. And
this makes sense. No, this is perfect. Keep going.
No, it's crazy because
Wait, when did he tell you that he was of the dot race?
after so I'm as a, so I've been telling you guys that I've been listening to leading up to this podcast. I was listening to other podcasts, and they all have like all these crazy life stories, and I was like, I don't have any interesting stories. And then if like through a miracle, this guy shows up on Wednesday,
as if sent directly from the dot god himself, bro.
So I'm actually very impressed with your story, DC, about blowing up cop cars. But
Allegedly.
so this guy comes. Yeah, so he says he's part of an alien species called the Dots, and what happens is, so he was originally born in 1870, as I said, and
Yeah, that's when they invented fucking pens.
Yeah.
You could draw dots.
So whenever he dies, his body reforms into a new person, and so he's on his third person right now. And that's why he has 3 social security numbers, because he's 3 different people.
Yeah, the dots are really big on recycling.
Wait, say that again. Say what does he say about getting people under him?
Okay, so when he died, so he was born in 1870, and then he died.
Okay. Right.
And his alien race of dots, when they die, their body, I guess they like, kind of like you would picture in a movie. I don't know if he directly said this, but he just said that when they die, they reincarnate. I'm pretty sure he said that like they turn into like a gel or something, and like they reform into like a new person, and that's how they're kind of like a phoenix. Like when they die, they become a new person. So he was his mom, he was his dad, he was his mom, he was his dad, and he was also now he's himself.
Before you move on, how can you be reincarnated into your mom and your dad?
I didn't get that answer from him.
Sorry, like how that's the part DC's question. Not that reincarnation is real. It's the fact that it might be incestuous.
If I'm listening to this guy and you were like, you were your mom and your dad, how the fuck did that work logistically? But anyway.
So you can leave it logistically. Just
the whole time this is happening, Pound is opening up an account. He's opening up 3 accounts, actually.
Well, no, I can't, because I have to have his social, and he hasn't provided me with it yet.
He has 3 of them. So,
yeah, and there's no on the form. There's only this might shock you. There's only room for 1 social.
Yes. He needs the dot form. He needs that dot form, bro.
So I thought I could just say to him at that point, I was like, okay, well, we can only open accounts for humans. Like, you'd think that would be the end of the conversation. But he starts going off like, about like the government. He's like a lot of other banks and like the government have been denying me my identity. And he's like, and a lot of people don't realize how illegal it is to not give an identity to a dot. And he's saying like he has like a constitutional right to like be recognized as a dot or something.
He has a constitutional right for fucking Lola Pound to open him a bank account.
I need you to paint a picture for me real quick. So you guys are in a small office, right?
Yeah.
He's sitting behind is he sitting in front of your desk and you're sitting at your desk?
Yeah, we're like, there's like 3 feet separating us.
And there's a person behind you.
That.
Yeah, there's a person sitting to my left watching the computer, and like theoretically it was to make sure I put on all the info correctly, but we don't have any info.
So he's just sitting in your office telling you this. How long is this taken to explain for him?
He was in there for about, thanks for the 5 bits, by the way. It's taken us about, he was in there for probably 40 minutes or so.
Wow.
And this is what got me really confused with the stories. because he said he was originally born in 1870, right?
Yeah.
And he also claimed that he was his own mother.
Right.
But then he said that he was also the Virgin Mary, and that he was born in 120 BC. So if he's the Virgin Mary, then he couldn't have been born in 1870 because he had to have been around 2,000 years ago. And he can't, if he's his own mom and he's married, that would mean he was Jesus. But at no point did he claim he was Jesus. He claimed that he was a Virgin Mary, but he never claimed that he was Jesus.
Okay.
So I
That's
guess
possible.
he gave birth to Jesus, but he's not Jesus because he's a dot.
What the fuck is this dot thing? Is that like popular?
We googled it. We googled like the dots
So he
aliens,
claims-
and we couldn't find any. And so I think he's the only one because I could not find any like conspiracy theory about like the dots.
Okay, so where did this go? What happened next?
Our manager said like 5 different times, if you don't have a physical social security card, then we can't, they're not gonna, because she called like our central office. She called the compliance department and said there's because we have to be professional. We can't just like tell somebody to. I mean, we were trying the best way to tell them to leave while also being professional.
You probably like, I don't know if this thing in like the US, but I'm pretty sure here you can remove somebody from your property if they're like under the fucking influence. Like, you can't tell me that guy is like completely sober. He's got to be on something.
I think he might have just been mentally ill, but so she
But
calls
to walk around.
she
Like,
calls the corporate compliance department and says, we have someone trying to open an account, and they have 3 different social security numbers, and they were born in 1870, and they don't have their social security card. I wasn't on the phone. She was on the phone. I wasn't on the phone, and she said she said that like obviously they just like laughed at her, and so no, we're not opening an account for this guy. There's no, because he doesn't have any of this information to like prove any of this, even if we wanted to. And so we eventually tell him. We tell him like 5 different. We tell him like, we can't verify your identity because we don't have your social. He's like, what do you like? He starts to get angry. He's like, what do you mean you can't verify my identity? I want to call the police. They never call the police. I want to. I'm freaking out. I think he's about to like go to his car and get a gun or something. Our manager says that she's gonna, because he has all of these documents that have nothing to do with opening a bank account. Like he has like
he has a like spare piece of paper on it with an ellipsis, and he's like, "This is my mom,
yeah,
dad,
dots,
and me."
yeah. So he has like all these like power of attorneys of like over his mother. Okay, Daniel asked an important question. So this is not the first ever person I was dealing with, but I had never gotten to open an account for someone. And so when I got into work that day, the person the experienced worker who's following me says, "Okay, you're going to do everything today to make sure that you know what you're doing." And I had never opened an account for someone before. So when he came in, we were both like, awesome. This one, I finally get to open an account for someone. I'm going to know what to do from now on. And this is the first person I have ever like sat down in my office to try to open an account for. She says so he has like power of attorney over like his mom or something, which is him. And it's all these, like, that doesn't matter for opening the account. Like, we just need a social security card. He has like,
we need your full family tree.
He has like all these tax returns. He has like years of tax returns and he has like 50 pages of paper that have nothing to do with, all we need is a social security card. He has like all these irrelevant papers. And my manager is trying to get him to leave. And so she says she's going to scan it. She's going to make copies and send it to the legal department. She's not sending it to the legal department. Like, we're not opening an account for this guy. So she goes back there, makes like copy of, she has like 50 different papers, copies 4 of them, and like comes back in holding 4 papers and tells him that she copied all of it. And he doesn't fight. He can't fucking tell. And so she says, we'll send it to the legal department and we'll let you know what they say. So he leaves. Oh, Daniel's been killing it in the chat.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what the fuck about him being on a fucking watch list? Like, surely at the point of him saying he's a dot, right? You do something about the watch list.
No, I was gonna say what I was gonna say, like, what happens? We're gonna feel so stupid when there's like a news report next week where scientists are like, they've discovered the first ever dot on Earth, and like all of this is true, and we're like idiots that like didn't believe it at all. But so we get him to finally leave. I assume that's the end of it because he finally leaves, and I assume that's like the end of it. And then at 4:55, because banks close at 5, like 5 minutes before we close, he walks back in, and like I don't recognize him at first until he's like right in front of me, and he's there, and he's like, hey, so I called another bank, and they said they're gonna open an account for me, which I think is completely wrong. I think he's making all this up, but he says he needs the copies that we made. He says that he needs the copies of his stuff that we made back. And this is where we're like trapped in a lie, because we told him we copied all 50 things. We only copied like 4 things.
Why does he need them back?
There's no reason. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Then just say, no, we binned them because we're not open. No, we sent them. You said you were sending them. Just say, no, they're already gone. Soz.
Well, our manager comes back and brings him like the 4 copies, and he like gets pissed. And he's like, where's the other papers? And she's like, well, the legal team said we only needed these 4 pages. So that was the only thing we copied. And she's very professional and stuff. She knows how to like talk her way out of this. And so he's like mad, but we get him to leave. And so then I go home for the day, and I'm like, okay. I like call my mom, and I tell her about what happened that day. I'm like, surely that's the end of it. And that's what I go on Discord, and I tell you guys, I'm like, I have an awesome story for the podcast. The next fucking day, like 10 minutes after we open, the guy comes back for a 3rd time. He says that the bank that he claimed was opening an account for him, which no fucking bank opened an account for him. But he says, he comes up to me. And remember, we told him we can't open an account. That's how this ended. We told him we can't open an account for you. That's how this ended. He comes up to me the next day, and he says, yeah, why did y'all make fraudulent charges to my account that we didn't open? And he's like, I need you to remove those fraudulent charges. I need you to cancel my debit card. There's no debit card. There's no account. None of this exists. I was like, we didn't open the account, sir. And he goes, no, the other bank told me that y'all charged my account. I need you to close the debit card. And I Skyped my manager. I was like, he's here. Please, dear God, help me or something.
No, the funniest part of the story is that you're working from home and he's just turning up to your apartment every day.
Yeah, he shows up in Twitch chat. And so the manager's like, we don't have. She's like, we didn't open an account for you yet. I told you that yesterday. We couldn't open your account because you don't have your social security card. And I think this is gonna turn into a fight or something. But he's like, okay, fine. Like really pissed off. He's like, okay, fine then. And he like leaves and he goes into his car. And like I'm standing at the door like staring at him. He goes into his car and he just sits in the parking lot like digging around in his car for like 3 minutes. And I'm just standing at the door ready to lock it because all my brain is saying is he's about to pull a gun out or something and come back into the branch and shoot us up. He doesn't do that. After like 3 minutes, he finally leaves. And our manager,
walked back into your bank, you would like jump oh, you know, because you were just so scared he was gonna fucking.
Yeah, so we spent the rest of the week, like the rest of Thursday and all of Friday, just like one of us had to be in the lobby at all times, just keeping an eye on the door to see if he ever comes back. But that was the last time. So we said, like, our manager was like, if you see him again and you can safely lock the door before he comes in, lock the door. If not, we're calling the sheriff's department. So far, it's only been 2 days. He hasn't come back yet. Hopefully he doesn't come on Monday. But yeah, I was just terrified because I'm like, this guy, he was getting angry at us and he's clearly not like well. It's going into it's just a slight tangent. One of y'all mentioned during training, they told us like what happens if there's ever like a robbery, and they said like, you know, don't fight the person at all. They're like just give them the money.
Can I interject for a second?
Yeah, no, I want y'all to interject whenever y'all want. Yeah.
The question wasn't if you can fight them. Sodium chloride said, "Are you allowed to hit people?"
So
Sodium, have you ever been in a bank and just been slapped in the fucking face? Like, no. I'm done with my interjection.
Yeah.
Fuck.
DC, do you have any thoughts so far?
On the no, I really
Yeah.
on what to do in that situation or the. Yeah, we do need to.
Or just like any, yeah.
An hour. We want to keep it somewhat.
DC really doesn't want to be here.
Right?
No, I'm just saying we got to keep it like.
Yeah. So I'll wrap this up, and then I'll see if there's like a quick question we can answer to like end on. But so all throughout training, they're like, hey, if you ever get robbed or something, fuck. They're like, don't fight them or anything. Just hand them the money, and call the police afterwards and stuff. Don't fight or anything. But then, like, after that, so I was like, okay, if anybody tries to rob us, I'm not gonna fight them. I'm just gonna hand them the money because we have certain bills with like
They're tracked, aren't they?
yeah, they're tracked.
Yeah.
Or there's also like bait money that like explodes into like this dye and like gets all over you. I don't know how that works, by the way. I don't know if you like get far away from the bank or something.
Yeah, you can't like. I think it stains, right? So like, it's very obvious that you've robbed the fucking bank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're like, don't just do that. Don't fight them or anything. But then on like the last day of training, we watch a video on like an active shooter scenario, and maybe it's because this was at like the corporate office. The video was at like a corporate office, not like at a branch. But this guy comes in with a gun, and it shows all. And this is the video we're watching like in training. It's shot kind of like like a shitty movie or something. This guy comes in with a gun, and everyone like runs into an office building and locks the door. And he like tries to. The gunman's like walking around trying to open the doors, but they're all locked. And then finally, like, all the people inside the workers, they all grab like whatever's in the office. They grab like a stapler. Someone grabs like a mug, and the gunman like opens up a door and like walks into the office, and the guy is hiding behind the door, and like the gunman walks in and he like comes up behind the gunman and like hits him over the head with a stapler. And all of a sudden, this is the training video. All of a sudden, all these people, like 16 workers, rush in and start like kicking him on the ground. And like one of them runs up. This is the part that I was like, one of them runs up with a pair of scissors and just like stabs him in the leg.
They're like, the slogan's like, at Amherst Bank, we fight for our money.
Yeah, sorry, what happened to the policy of not fighting them?
I know.
That's what I was so confused about. I was watching the video and I was telling all the other people in training.
And you fuck them up and you get that money back.
I was telling the people in training, I was like, I'm like, we were taught not to she just stabbed him in the leg. What? And so it's just like him on the ground in a full circle of like 16 people beating the shit out of him.
They're like, no, this is what they tell you in the lawyer and HR. They're like, hey guys, if somebody comes in with a gun, don't fight them. But they like wink at you. They're like, wait for the video. And then they play the video and they're like, jump him.
And then the video ends with them like calling the police. And I picture like in my, the police like come in and arrest the guy. But as they're calling the police, what I'm picturing in my head is like the police come in like guns drawn because they said there was a robbery. And like all the coworkers run to the police and start stabbing them with scissors or something.
That is fucking incredible, Pound. I'm glad you saved that. What a story.
I wanna find like one story, one question on the Google form. If you guys in chat have like any question, I just want like a question to like wrap us up on. Something not quite as intense as being invaded by dots or anything. By the way, if I told my coworker after that guy left, you do realize that if like a year from now, if human society gets invaded by the dots and they take over, like you and me are the first people being enslaved because we didn't open a bank account for this guy. Like we're fucked.
What does he need a bank account for?
That's what I was confused by because
rent.
Because he's an alien, but he's using like U.S. I didn't see this. My manager had to tell me this. Apparently, I missed it. But he had like $50,000 cash like in this bag, and I was like, because I would assume if he's an alien, he doesn't use human currency, right? He would have like, I thought because I only found that out because I made the joke. I was like, if we open an account for this guy, he'd probably give us like a button or something and tell us it's like a million alien currency. But no, they said he had like a bag with like $50,000 in it. And I was like, where did he get this money? Like, what has happened to this guy?
A lot of heroin.
I genuinely felt bad because it's not like this guy woke up and he was like, let me go fuck with these people at a bank. Like, he's clearly like mentally ill and needs help. And it's funny, but I feel bad about it at the same time.
No, you don't. You've just sat here for like 40 minutes and made fun of
because
him.
it's funny, but like I feel like I wish that guy wasn't how he was.
Hey, put yourself in that guy's shoes for a day. Okay, imagine you walk into a bank and you say, "Hey, I'm reincarnated of Jesus Christ, my mother and my father. I was born in 1870. I'm of the dot race, alien, alpha male group, and I'd like to start a bank." Like, dude, imagine if that was you. Like, that was your life. Okay, so let's not make fun of this guy.
Pound doesn't want to be in that dude's shoes because they fucking smell of cigarettes.
Right? Yeah.
And the whole reason it came back to is don't smoke cigarettes, kids. Yeah, dude, that's no way of life. I think he's just straight up mentally ill. Like whether he's
absolutely,
acid or whatever. I think you call like if you were to come back, you call the cops and then they have him taken away. There was a guy. Oh, next podcast I'll have to tell a story about the guy who was had a psych ward call out for him and was arrested and apprehended outside of my apartment.
What a build up to next Saturday.
Tune in next week, everybody. What we'll end on is a question. What is an incel? A term that was recently banned from Twitch. What does that mean?
Are we meant to give our opinions on this? Not like just read from a dictionary?
Okay, so incel is short for involuntarily celibate. They don't have sex, but it's involuntary. So basically they're saying they want to have sex, but women don't have sex with them. So that's what incel is short for.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
I've never really heard that.
And it doesn't even really fully mean that's what it's short for, but it kind of just means like guys who hate women basically nowadays. Cuz they basically they don't have sex and they blame it all on like it's weird cuz at the same time they hold the opinion that all women are like whores and just like fuck like every guy and they're like they love like getting abortions and stuff because they fuck so much. But then at the same time they claim that like women don't have sex and that's why they're virgins is because women don't have. So like they're whores and they're also not whores at the same time. It's a weird contradiction. Yeah, so that's what an incel is basically. They kind of blame women for like all their problems. Do you have like further questions on it?
Nope.
Yeah. So yeah, it's because there's so many. I guess this is what we can end on. There's so many subreddits that when I hear like the name of them and what the subreddit's about, I'm like, oh, okay, you know, that's really interesting. I like to join it. Like there's a subreddit called MGTOW, MGTOW, and stands for men going their own way. And it's about like people just learning how to be happy. Like they don't need to be in a relationship to be happy. They just like find joy from their own lives and stuff. And I was like, that sounds like a really interesting group to like, you know, be self-dependent and not rely on other people for your happiness. I'm like, okay, so I like subscribe to it, and like the first post I go to, it's like, how what do you think of women? And then the comments are like fucking bitch, and I was like, what? And then like that's like every post on there is just like I fucking want to murder women. I was like, what?
Where is the wrapping up here?
No, because I'll get your, and then the other one is this one called like anti-consumerism or something. I don't remember the exact name of the subreddit, but it's about
Pound, you found yourself in a few hate groups this
right.
week.
No, I left like immediately.
You
but
stumbled upon what people call hate groups. Yeah.
There's this other one called like our consume or something. And it's just about like people just like buy like useless stuff and don't save money and stuff, and how people are like spending on useless shit and stuff. And I was like, okay, I can kind of agree with that people like overspend on stuff they don't need. So like I join it, and like every single post on there is like good. Like the post will say like, instead of buying like a brand new iPhone every single year, like maybe you can be happy just using your old phone and like saving money, and you don't need all these products to like make you happy. You can find inner peace. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's awesome. And then like you go to the comment section. So the post is fine. and you go to the comment section.
You're the worst at wrapping things up. Let me just tell you.
Yeah, no, actually, let's never let Pound.
No, Pound is not allowed. Yeah, Bailey.
It has to be either me or you, DC, because this motherfucker does not wrap up. He unwraps. He
45 minutes. Oh no, guys, I'm about to wrap up. Just listen to this. 45 minutes.
These subreddits that have fucking nothing to do with the podcast.
Yeah,
have no starting point. Nothing. They're just fucking random subreddits.
Look, the point is, the post is like, you don't need an iPhone, a brand new iPhone to make you happy. And I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then you go to the comment section, and every single comment is like, yeah, back in the 1970s, the Jews released black people onto America and destroyed the culture. I'm like, what the fuck did that have to do with the post? And so it's like every
What
single...
does that have to do with us wrapping up, bro?
That's just an anecdotal.
Bailey, wrap up the podcast then.
Okay, DC, I have a question, all right?
Okay.
This is from the audience, directed at you, okay? Why have you moved away from the mic?
Right here.
Okay. The question is, why can't DC for once in his lifetime successfully announce a stream in his server in the correct channel with a link and an at everyone? Jesus fuck man, this man has never done it twice in a row.
Who said that?
DC, you're wrapping up the podcast. That sucked more than my story.
Who said that? All right, yeah. All right, boys. That's going to be it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is a little bit longer of an episode. Pound is going to, I think, are you going to edit this down and throw it on YouTube or what?
Yeah, I'll download it and edit them. I mean, every single second was gold, so I don't know what I'm going to take out, you know.
And then he's going to upload it, and we'll see if I can get it on Spotify. And then we'll be back next week, same time, hopefully, same day. And make sure to follow the Twitch that we've created.
Yeah, let me go ahead and post it one more time in the chat. We have because for the first 3 podcasts, you know what? Y'all are going to get mad at me. Bailey, you explain what's happening with the new channel.
Yeah, for the first 3 podcasts, we're doing them on our channels because we have some of an audience. By the way, you two have the exact, like, you two have 1.4k subscribers on Twitch, both 1.4k, very satisfying. But we all have an audience already, so we're streaming them on our channels to see if people are interested. Then we're going over to twitch.tv/BPT Podcast, which is in the chat. Click it, give it a follow. Podcasts from episode 4 will be exclusive on that channel. So if you did enjoy today, then go give a follow to the new account.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and post the, we have Bailey was very productive today. He also made a YouTube channel where this will be being uploaded to.
And a Twitter account.
And a Twitter account, which I can't ever log into because it'll ban us from like my MAC address.
Pound types his own name into the computer at the bank, and he sees he's on every list, bro.
Yeah, it says like wanted by the CIA for measuring bra sizes.
Good. That's a good wrap up.
Yeah.
That's good. All right, boys, we are out. I'll talk to you guys later.
Alrighty, peace out, guys.